A shocking Lakers trade is incoming. Following the Mark Williams trade being canceled by the Lakers due to a failed physical, new reports and rumors are starting to swirl surrounding Rob Pelinka's next move as it pertains to a starting center. We're going to break down these reports and discuss what this means going forward as Rob Pelinka is in desperation mode when it comes to acquiring a starting center. We're going to break all it down in this episode, folks. Before we get into it, if you're a part of that 86% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. We're uploading multiple times a day for you all, keeping you up to date with all the latest news, whether it be reports now about new centers, post-game videos. We got you covered. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also on the road to 12,000 subscribers, so we're pretty close to that. We have a lot to go over today. Now, we know that the Lakers are in a desperation mode. They're in desperation mode right now. They're in a desperate spot. The Mark Williams trade was blocked because, of course, he failed his physical, which was a good call by the Lakers. But now that leads them without a starting center aside from Jackson Hayes. And some new reports and rumors are circulating. I had a video on Dwight Howard, a former Laker, the other day. And let me bring up to you now some new reports and rumors that are swirling surrounding JaVale McGee. And you can see this here. JaVale McGee, Mo Bamba, and Lakers' top targets are Lakers' top targets after Mark Williams' trade was rescinded. And there's a lot to go over today. So, obviously, we covered in the video, earlier today and last night, Dwight Howard, and then, of course, earlier today in Daniel Tice. But there's been a lot of rumblings lately surrounding JaVale McGee. And the reason for that is a few different things. It's similar to Dwight Howard in a lot of ways. But we're talking about JaVale McGee today, which is a former Laker. A bunch of different things. And as you start to look through, again, we'll get into this article later. There's an article dropped by Bleacher Report as well. But as you start to look at the different targets that people have for the Lakers, whether that be JaVale McGee, you can see Daniel Tice, Mo Bamba. There's a lot of guys available. Now, are these guys going to be championship caliber centers? Probably not. However, JaVale McGee is at the top of a lot of Lakers fans, a lot of Lakers writers, free agents, buyout market lists. And it's for a very good reason. As you start to look at what this lineup is right now, and we brought this up before, you have Luka Doncic, Reaves, Hachimura, LeBron, and Jackson Hayes. That is in all likelihood going to be their starting lineup in tomorrow night's game against the Utah Jazz. And to Jackson Hayes' credit, he's played really good, and he is a lob threat. He can run with Luka fairly well. However, where you start to run into problems is against bigger players. Players like, whether you talk about players like, of course, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, any of these guys, right? That's when you start to run into a little bit of problems. However, you now have an opportunity to go out and get a guy like JaVale McGee. Now, we're very familiar with JaVale McGee. In 2019, 2020, he was a Los Angeles Laker, and he put up some very good numbers. He had one of the best seasons. He had the best season of his career in 2018 at age 31 when he put up 12 points a game and 8 rebounds. If you've been watching Lakers for a while, we're all familiar with how good JaVale McGee is and can be, right? We all know that. However, at this point of his career, he's coming off a season with the Kings where he put up 4 points and 3 rebounds. What you would bring JaVale McGee in for is a huge body, right? He is a huge body. He's going to be able to match up a little bit better than a guy like Jackson Hayes because he's stronger, he's a bit more built. And going up against these guys, whether it be, like I mentioned, the Nikola Jokic of the world, just any of the big centers, you are now in a position to where you can go ahead and really, fight. And ultimately, like I've been mentioning in all these videos, whatever center that the Lakers get, it's not going to be a championship caliber starting center. It's going to be a by committee thing at the center position, whether that be Jackson Hayes, whether that be JaVale McGee, Trey Jemison, all these different guys. I see some of you guys in the comments saying that, none of these centers are going to be able to guard Nikola Jokic, which is true. One-on-one, no real center in the NBA can guard Nikola Jokic. However, if you can play by committee, we have faith in JJ Redick's defense. You have a lot of versatile wings. You have Jared Vanderbilt who can, he's 6'8". He can kind of play the spy role, shadow a little bit, double Nikola Jokic in the post and really be that spy. You're starting to look at it now where you have Jackson Hayes, you have JaVale McGee, who's a big body. You can see this here. There's a former big man who could catch lobs from Doncic, who could be available to play a role off the bench. He's currently playing in Puerto Rico and is someone who might be open to a return. There was the third title. That was the third title in McGee's career, of course, with the Warriors. But he is also certainly playoff tested with 74 postseason games on his resume and could provide energy and short spurts off the bench. He played for the Kings. It would be yet another stop for the veteran journeyman, but he is a familiar name, played in the postseason alongside James in the past, previously played with Doncic in Dallas, and provides some much-needed depth for a stretch run. Makes all the sense in the world, and obviously the focus is defense surrounding the center position because that's where the Lakers really lack right now. His offense would actually fit fairly well with Luka Doncic. We know Luka Doncic wants a big man who can roll to the basket, catch lobs. He's unable to shoot, but if he can roll to the basket and catch lobs and be athletic, that will help Luka Doncic get more open. It'll help open up the floor for everybody else here. And he played with LeBron James in the past, and he's played with Luka Doncic in Dallas. So you look at it here, I mean, at the end of the day, again, he played with Luka in 2022. This is a familiar face, and that's why I think this is an extremely likely return for the LA Lakers. We've obviously been talking, I also think Daniel Tyson, all the guys I've been talking about are very good fits, but this one, he's played with both of the stars of the Lakers, and if you have to assume there's going to be a couple players that, maybe push ownership to go after, because there's a lot available here, and we know that Luka Doncic was in cohorts with Rob Pelinka when talking about the Mark Williams trade in the center he wants. You can bet your last dollar that Luka Doncic will be in conversations with Rob Pelinka about what center he wants out of the buyout market, whether that be Dwight Howard, Daniel Tice, and JaVale McGee. He's played with JaVale in the past. It makes a ton of sense. Everybody is talking about the fact that JaVale McGee is probably one of the best options. Now, there's also some other guys like Moses Brown, Omer Yurtseven, Damian Jones. Like, there's a lot of guys who do similar roles. But when you're talking about someone who would fit this team well, has experience in the Lakers organization, has experience with Luka Doncic, I mean, it's hard to, find a better option than JaVale McGee here. And again, he is still playing basketball. Some of these guys, Dwight Howard's not necessarily, in a league right now. JaVale McGee is currently playing in Puerto Rico, right? So he's playing in Puerto Rico and he's staying in basketball shape. If he's open to any sort of return, this is the one. I mean, he would get a chance to play with Luka Doncic. And if you're a buyout candidate, and this doesn't just go for JaVale McGee, this goes for anyone. If you're a buyout candidate, and let's say you're getting offered the league minimum and you want a chance to rejuvenize your career and really get some big offers, there is no better place to do so than the Los Angeles Lakers, where you're going to get borderline, at the very least, 20 to 25 minutes, but borderline a starting spot in the rotation alongside two of the best players in the world, LeBron and Luka. I mean, you cannot make up a better fit for any of these centers. It's literally a match made in heaven. And that's why I think a lot of these guys, whether it be JaVale McGee, whether it be, of course, Mo Bamba, but most importantly, JaVale, it makes perfect sense for him. And he could play a perfect role, block some shots, play some defense, get some rebounds, playing the pick and roll, and just fit this team perfectly. And it's at a point now where the Lakers don't have a lot of options. I mean, again, I've been bringing up a lot of these lists. These are probably the four top targets. JaVale McGee is number one on a lot of people's lists, and that's simply because he has played alongside both LeBron and Luka Doncic. There's familiarity there. He's played within the organization before, familiarity with Jeannie Buss, all these different things. And as you start to go and you start to think what Rob Pelinka will do next, I mean, they're in desperation mode. They need a center. There's no doubt about it. Their current, depth chart is riddled with very interesting, center depth, whether it be Jackson Hayes and Trey Jemison, Christian Koloko. I mean, you have Markieff Morris. They're still going to have to waive somebody. In all likelihood, it's going to be Cam Reddish. But again, waiving these players does not add any more buyout money. It doesn't save them any money. It just opens up the roster spot. So their buyout amount's going to have to be low, probably the league minimum. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as we continue to push towards a decision, which is going to happen over the next coming days. But that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think JaVale McGee is a perfect fit because he has played against and with Luka and LeBron James? Let us know down below. Thank you guys for watching. Cheers.